Hello and welcome back to the second video of the SEN tutoring sessions, and this one is about dyslexia tutoring. So in this session we will look at what is dyslexia, how it affects learning, tips to tutor dyslexic students, and how to assess dyslexic students. So first of all, we will look at what is dyslexia. So this is the official definition of what dyslexia is by the British Dyslexia Association. I'll let you pause the video here and read it yourself, as I am dyslexic and nobody wants to see me struggle to read through this. So let's break this down. So what dyslexia is. So dyslexia is primarily an SEN that affects reading and writing skills in children and adults, and it can also affect other aspects of life. We'll get on to what those other aspects are in a minute. And it will also include challenging and processing information, visual problems, but dyslexia also has a number of benefits, such as creativity and a strong visual memory. So how does this affect learning? So it can take them a while to fully process information. So if you are tutoring somebody with dyslexia, you need to take this into account, as it might just take them a while to fully understand something. And even if they don't get it first time, doesn't mean that they don't understand it. They might just need time with it. They can also struggle to engage with work. And this could be a variety of different reasons. It could be because they just can't break through that barrier of reading and writing, and therefore just don't want to engage with the work, full stop. And then the difficulties in reading and writing is a major aspect. It can also lead to unorganization, which again can affect the sessions, especially in older children. Visual problems like not being able to read on certain colors and being able to read certain fonts or certain directions. So all of this needs to be brought in mind when tutoring. It can also cause them a lot of frustration. And if they are constantly struggling to read something or constantly struggling to write something, then it can just make them feel very down about their work. And then, especially in younger children, this can then lead to an unwillingness to work. So if they are constantly feeling very frustrated with what they're doing, then they will lose all engagement. So tutoring dyslexia students. So understanding learning styles on an individual basis. So we talked about this a while back in the last video. But again, this is very important when it comes to dyslexic students, as there's some certain provisions that you'll have to take on board, like paper color that you're using. Like some students cannot read on certain colors and can only read on certain colors. So if you're giving them text, then you need to make sure that you're accommodating for that. It's also very beneficial to use small blocks of input. So if you normally have students for a long session, you have a little break in the middle, then it's good to spread out that break throughout the whole session and only have 10 minutes, a little break, 10 minutes, because you'll find that they'll engage a lot more and they'll take a lot more of that information in. Using visual aids, again, making sure it's in the right color, but instead of using lots of text, using lots of pictures, as students with dyslexia normally respond a lot more to visual and like picture than writing. Also using lots of kinesthetic learning, so moving about. So if you can get up, if you can go for walks, if you can use the whole classroom or the area you're using, then they'll find this a lot more engaging than sitting down and just working with paper and pen. Also using a lot of discussion-based learning. So again, trying to avoid that classic using lots of sheets, using lots of text, making them read lots. If you can both like talk through it, then they'll find that a lot more beneficial. And also being able to explain the input in a variety of ways. So again, this is coming back to understanding how people work on an individual basis. And this also doesn't just apply to dyslexia, this applies to a whole range of SENs. If you can see that they don't understand something, it might not be the information, it might just be the way that's been explained. So if you can think of other ways to talk about it, other ways to show it, again, using visual aids, getting around, then they might be able to understand it that way. So assessing dyslexic students. So a really important thing is to focus on the goal of the lesson. So if you have a lesson which is based on creative writing, it's based on using adverbs or whatever, focus on that. Don't get brought down by other things. So this is why I say have separate spelling lessons to monitor progress and come back to SPAG, because if you're constantly bringing dyslexic students up on misspelling words or using incorrect punctuation when that isn't the goal of the lesson, then you can find that they'll just find that incredibly frustrating and then lose sight of what the whole session was about. So it's really important to stick to what the session goal is, and if they're doing that well, praise them, and then the spelling and the writing side, come back to that later. So again, this sounds a bit ominous, but then you are not the cure of dyslexia. Your job tutoring dyslexic students isn't to make them incredible spellers or incredible writers. They will always struggle with reading, writing, and spelling. So it's about bringing up the other aspects of learning and stuff. So if they're good at, if they're great at creative writing, focus on that and bring up that other skills. And then again, focus on the positives in the sessions, because you'll find that they'll get incredibly frustrated if you will constantly bring them up on spelling and writing stuff when that isn't what the aim of the lesson is. And also lean into areas of interest, especially with younger children. You'll find that they're a lot more engaged and a lot more willing to work if it's an area that they're really interested in. So thank you again. I hope this was useful and you got some good advice on dyslexia tutoring, and the next video will be on ADHD.